Oh, good morning. This is the Teaserking coming to you with looking at week one for college football, some insights, trends, and just some of my analysis on some of the games. Not all of them, but quite a few of them. First thing I'd like to point out are the new quarterbacks. One of the comments and one of the trends I look at are the new quarterbacks in college. They've never played before. They've played and had 5 or 6 snaps. All of a sudden they're the starting quarterback, and it just takes 4, 5, 6 games for them to get comfortable. If they're very, very good, if they're, maybe they're just not good, but you got to assume the first game it's all new to them. Very, very rarely are they just going to come in and do something good. Even the great ones, just the first game, they're not going to be as confident as they would be after 5 or 6 games, after a year or two. So I like to play the experienced quarterback versus the inexperienced quarterback, and in the beginning of the year, the first 3 or 4 weeks. Then once they prove themselves, maybe they're a senior quarterback and they're pretty good, but generally I do look out for that. I like to go against them, and especially freshmen or sophomores. Here's the teams that have new quarterbacks starting Saturday on the September 3rd, the first week. Memphis has a new quarterback. He's also a sophomore. Vegas and Wisconsin are both starting new quarterbacks. Wisconsin's starting a sophomore. TCU's got a new quarterback against Baylor. Alabama's starting a new quarterback, a sophomore. He'll probably just hand off and they'll play defense. Minnesota's got a new quarterback and a new coach against USC. Mississippi starting a new quarterback against BYU. San Jose State starting a new quarterback who's a freshman against Stanford. New Mexico starting a new quarterback. Fresno State starting a new quarterback who looks like a sophomore. Cal starting a new quarterback. Rice is starting a new quarterback, looks like a sophomore. Louisiana Tech starting a new quarterback. And Marshall starting a new quarterback who's sophomore against West Virginia. These are the games that I would not take that team. I would play against them or watch them. The only team that I would be apt to take would be TCU because they're so strong and they have a good running and a great defense, but they've had a lot of graduation, and I know TCU will be strong, but I don't like them here at Baylor. They're laying 6. You could tease them to even. They'll probably win the game, but there's such question mark about the quarterback. It's hard to go with the quarterback. If it was Andy Dalton, this would be a lock. Taking them laying 6, knocked down to even against Baylor would be a joke. But you don't have Dalton. You've lost some good receivers and a lot of defense. So it's a different TCU. They're not going to be as strong as they were the last couple of years. And so you got to beware. I wouldn't play TCU here. They might win, but it's unknown. So why take a risk on an unknown? I'd rather go to a known team. First game is Mississippi State against Memphis on September 1. And Memphis is starting a new quarterback. All the trends favor Mississippi State. They're laying 27. You can cut them to 21. Mississippi State, teams in the SEC, when they play these Conference USAs and Sun Belt conferences and MAC conferences, they have to win the game, and they get up for the game because their schedules are so tough. Mississippi State, they got to have 4 or 5 big games against SEC teams that probably aren't winnable. Maybe they are, and they're competitive in them, and maybe they'll win them, but they could have 3 or 4 or 5 losses because it's SEC teams. So they have to win this game against Memphis. So whenever you see these cross-conference games, Big Ten plays MAC, all these, the Pac-10 plays the WAC and the Mountain West, and all these teams, generally, if it's a good team, they'll win by a lot because they know they have to win because their conference is so strong and tough and hard to get the wins, or they're going for the national title like in Alabama or Oklahoma, or they're just trying to get bowl eligible and they realize, hey, this is a win I have to have. Anyway, they usually get up for the game because they know they have to win it. And these I'm talking about are good teams, top 20 teams that definitely need the game and are capable of getting a good win here. So I like Mississippi State laying 21. Wisconsin's 35 over Vegas with new quarterbacks on both sides. I look for Wisconsin to run the ball a lot. And you're laying 35. You can cut it to 29, but when you run the ball a lot, you're not going to get as many points. And Las Vegas' defense is just so bad against the run, but they don't have to worry about the pass because it's a sophomore quarterback. He's never played before. So I would think they'd put 9 men on the line of scrimmage and just make it into a defensive game. So it's hard to lay 35. I think the number is too big there with the new quarterback for Wisconsin. Alabama laying 37 to Kent State. It's just what I was talking about. It's a new quarterback. They're going to run the ball and play defense. It's a big number, 37 down to 31 for Alabama. Kent State's an unknown. Alabama needs it. They're going for the national title, but again, they got to win by 31 or 32 points. That's a big number with a new quarterback. So I don't know. They might pull it off, but I don't want anything to do with that game. Stanford and San Jose State. Stanford's laying 27 with Andrew Luck against the new quarterback who's a freshman on the road. This is the game that I look for. Stanford, they have a new head coach. He's been the offensive coordinator. He's an offensive-minded coach. You have Andrew Luck. I still think they want to prove they can win without Jim Harbaugh, who's a great coach. Sorry to see him leave, but this is the game here. Stanford is going to put up a 50 on San Jose State, and they're just going to show we didn't lose a step. They got really close to the national title. They lost to Oregon. Their focus is beating Oregon this year, winning the Pac-10, going to the national title game. That's their focus. They certainly have the athletes to do it and the team to do it, and there's no reason that they can't run the table. So this is a game that they have to win, and it's a new quarterback, freshman for San Jose State, a new coach at San Jose State. He was there like a year. This is a 50 for Stanford here. This is the game you're looking at. Put up a big 50, 60 number on it, and I love Stanford here. Rice and Texas. Again, it's a similar game. Texas is only laying 22. Texas wins this game by 50 every year. Last year was Texas's worst year in 15 years under Mac Brown. And generally I've noticed when teams have a bad year, and I don't really know why. There wasn't that many injuries. They had a quarterback. They just had a bad year. I don't know, from the national title game the year prior with Alabama, maybe they just let down or whatever, but they lost focus. They're still a great team. They still have a good quarterback who's returning. He's not terrible. He's not a new quarterback. This is a game that they always win, and they always win big. And Rice is starting a new quarterback who's a sophomore. The trends don't favor Texas here, but I don't care. The head-to-head trend does favor Texas, and Texas is going to come out like, let's get our first win. And they want to make up for last year, and they're extremely focused. And they're going to come out, and they're going to put up a 50 on Rice here. And, this game will be 57-3. This is blowout, lock. Texas has something to prove, and they're mad. And when a program like Texas, now it's different if the coach left and they had a new coach, a la Michigan, a la Florida. It's a little different flavor. But when the coach is still there and they just have a bad year, and I've seen it with Michigan, I've seen it with Ohio State, Alabama, they'll just for some reason have a bad year. And then the next year they're on fire. They're really mad about it, and they come out really, really strong. And this is a game, again, Texas has to play Oklahoma. Texas A&M's strong. Oklahoma State's strong. They have to win this game, not necessarily for a bowl, but they want to go undefeated. They want to prove that last year was a fluke. This is not a game they're going to lose, and this is a game that they always win big. I think last year was a closer game, but generally it's a big win for Texas. Love Texas here. They'll put up a 50, and they're only laying 22 down to 16. That's a joke. Let's talk about Boise State laying 3 at Georgia's Dome, but not a home game for Georgia almost. But I think they're going to do it where it'll be 50-50 Boise and Georgia, so it'll be somewhat of a neutral, but it'll be like last year's Virginia Tech game. I look for the same result. I look for it's going to be a close game. You tease the dog, and the dog here is Georgia getting 3 up to 9. Boise's Boise. I mean, they got the best quarterback, Kellen Moore. He's as good as Andrew Luck. He's clutch. I said it last year, he's the next Joe Montana. This kid just knows how to win, and he'll put the ball in the right place. He doesn't turn the ball over often. And, I don't know, last time they played Georgia, I think it was 7-8 years ago, and Georgia killed them. They beat them like 44-20, which I was surprised. And they ran the ball up and down, and Boise just wasn't ready for a Georgia team. Since that time, they played Oklahoma in the Fiesta Bowl and beat them. They go to Virginia Tech. They win that game. They play TCU in the bowls. They beat them. They're ready for this. This is not going to be Georgia 44-0 because they're bigger and stronger and faster because they're SEC. No. I would love Boise to be the dog here, to tell you the truth. I'm shocked they're favored. But you got to take Georgia in the points here. Basically a home game for them. Georgia should be good. The quarterback's a sophomore, but he'll be there. They're used to playing Alabama. They're used to playing Florida in big games. So this is nothing for Georgia. I just think it'll be 28-27. Boise wins the game at the end on Kellen Moore again. Hopefully their field goal kicker has retired, because I can't believe he missed 2 short ones against Nevada, cost them the national title. Boise would have won the national title last year without a problem. Boise's, it's an outstanding game. These teams are equal. The trends favor Boise because Boise covers, but they usually play whack teams. And against like the Virginia Tech or the Oklahomas, they play very close games. They're not going to blow them out. It's not on the blue carpet. They blow out on the blue carpet, but not here. So tease the dog in that game, Georgia in the 9. 2 other games. Colorado goes at Hawaii. Hawaii has Brian Munoz quarterbacking again. Colorado's new coach. I look at Colorado. They have a good running back. I look at them to try to run the ball at Hawaii. Hawaii will be able to, stop him. Maybe he gets 100 yards, 125 yards. I think Munoz goes all over the place. I love this game. I lock this game. Hawaii's laying 7. I cut Hawaii to 1 at home. I'm going to give you a trend that I guarantee you do not know. This is what I do. Colorado has lost the last 17 games on the road. They've lost all of them. Now, most of them have been in conference. Still, they're not playing. They're playing Kansas, Kansas State, weaker teams, and they still couldn't win. So they have no confidence going on the road. This is also huge. Hawaii has beaten Boise at home. They have beaten Nevada at home. They play very well at home, and the travel time and everything else makes it a very tough place to play. Colorado is not a strong team. So to lay Hawaii down to 1, they've got the experienced quarterback who's very good. I love Hawaii in this game. Colorado can't go on the road and win. This is Hawaii. And the last game is SMU, Texas A&M. Tannehill at quarterback for A&M, just too much. Now the way you do this, SMU is a passing type of team. And I looked at what you do is you look at the trend of how A&M plays Texas Tech. At home, they play Texas Tech very well. On the road, Texas Tech plays well. The game's at A&M. SMU is a smaller version of Texas Tech with the passing offense, June Jones. So you're only laying 16 with A&M. You cut it to 10. As I explained, these out-of-conference games, A&M has to win the game. They know they got to play Oklahoma and Texas and Oklahoma State, Baylor, all these other teams. So they know they have. This is a win they have to get. They want to be a top 10 team. I think they can this year. They're very strong. They're at home and they're laying 16 down to 10. Love this game. These are my games for week 1. Again, this is the Teaser King, www.teaserking.com. I put all my trends out in my trends column. Just go there. One thing in case there's confusion, I say play and play against. Because it's a teaser, you can either play on the team, so I can take Hawaii -1, or I can take against the team and take Colorado +13. That's what I mean when I say play the team or play against the team when you look at my trends column. And I put out trends for the last few years for college and pro. So basically what I'm saying is you play the team, you go with them. You play against the team, you go against them. Usually the weaker teams we're going against. Anyway, have a